Ladies and gentlemen, hello and welcome to the annual general meeting for Laymen Gaming. We work very hard here to defeat EA and reduce its revenues in microtransactions. And after 2.5 years of work, I'm sure we've achieved great success. Sam, tell me, what are the numbers like?
We certainly have. Let's have a look at them. EA made 1 billion off microtransactions just the last quarter alone.
So at least it's not $1 billion and $1.
No,
that's right. That's right. The Laymen, we did it. Round of applause for us.
We get things done.
The Laymen saved gaming. We stopped EA from making $1 billion and $1.
That's good.
So
isn't it?
you're welcome, Reddit. You're welcome.
How it feels to chew 5 gum.
Hey, can you throw me another
Stimulate your senses.
Guys, at Laymen, we fought the good fight against EA. We really started our channel in 2017, actually. It was all about EA, okay? June 2017, after we got back from E3, being your cameraman. God, that sucked. But anyway, it was still good fun. We went to LA.
You are still my cameraman,
We're still having fun to this day, okay? We started with EA, and now we are back talking about EA.
That's right, because what they've done recently is an earnings call where they talk about how much money they've made, and they made a lot of money from microtransactions, $1 billion from microtransactions last quarter alone. And they also talked about the future of EA as a company, what they're working on next, stuff they're doing with Nintendo and Nintendo Switch, stuff for next gen, their future of live services. There's actually quite a bit here. Some of it is kind of good news, to be honest with you. Some of it is EA gonna EA. We'll talk about it after the drop.
So guys, again, this channel was built on the motto, EA bad, okay? Clickbait also.
Let's roll some old footage.
Hello fam, I'm Layman and this is Gamon.
Don't call them fam.
What's wrong with being called fam?
Fam is so done right now. It's so finished.
I
Can
was
I
a
just
little
say,
bit-
look how much Sam has changed / aged in that time.
This is what happened to Abe Lincoln, everybody, okay? If you look at photos of him, okay, he's got the weight of the world on his shoulders. Same with me.
And I also said the very first Star Wars Battlefront video we did has the worst like ratio because it was before everyone realized it was garbage. So obviously EA has had a very rocky past. It had Star Wars Battlefront 2 being one of the biggest launch disasters in video game history, culminating in the most downvoted Reddit post in history, that wonderful pride and accomplishment. Star Wars Battlefront 2, of course, stuffed with loot boxes, and it actually triggered a global sort of like government pushback against loot boxes, which still continues to this day, by the way. You had the disastrous Battlefield 5 launch, both in terms of like the tone of the game, the way they engage their audiences, and all the bugs in the game that actually persist to this day, by the way.
Yeah.
And then of course you had stuff like the cancellation of Project Ragtag, that Star Wars game with Amy Hennig. You had closure of studios. You had like the death of single player games. Remember how EA once declared that the market really wasn't interested in single player games?
How right they were, everybody,
They were so
and how
right.
they stuck to their guns, okay? They did not come out with another game out of the ruins of Ragtag.
So basically, TLDR, EA, shit tier company for a long ass time. What's changed though with EA? Because there has actually been some changes.
Yes, there has. Okay, so let's start with Apex Legends. Absolutely no marketing, comes out of nowhere, made by Respawn, jumps on the scene. It is a battle royale, and it's actually really bloody good.
It is.
Okay, and
Excellent.
it actually gets a bit of a following pretty quickly, and it's still pretty, important to this day. It's not Fortnite big, but it definitely made a dent on the battle royale market.
It's about to launch Season 4 as well, and it's got good momentum. Apparently,
Exactly.
Season 3 had more engagement than Season 2, according to EA's recent numbers. And they're still working on a mobile version of the game, which will surely go gangbusters.
And I'm sure it'll be really good with no microtransactions in it, of course. But for now, look, that has been pretty well received. Then we, of course, we have Anthem. Now, it is a complete dumpster fire, but no microtransactions. Well, next to no microtransactions. Exactly right. There's a few skins in there, but all in all, it was a very microtransaction light game, and that we're trying to push out a live service that was about the game,
and
but it didn't really land.
And I'll also say EA was quite vindicated in this because everyone's like, EA ruins Anthem. It's like, well, actually, EA gave BioWare more than enough rope to hang itself. Like, it was absolutely on BioWare. They gave them many years, many extensions, no editorial oversight, nothing. So everything that went wrong with Anthem was not EA's fault. And I think everyone in BioWare says that, and that came through very clearly in the post-reporting that was provided by Jason Schreier. A small release last year as well that was quite well received was Need for Speed Heat. A lot of people liked it, and it had no microtransactions, by the way. That's surprising.
Yeah.
But the biggest news story was, of course, Jedi Fallen Order, which was the Star Wars Respawn game. Very sort of like Uncharted meets Star Wars, meets Sekiro somehow. Look, not like the perfect game, but fantastic Star Wars.
Definitely in the
we
right
loved
direction.
it.
Yeah, definitely in the right direction. I felt like that was the first moment in the last 3 years of this channel where I was like, okay, EA, good for a moment. EA's done something good. Now, I know we really shouldn't give them all the props because they were really just publishing it. And it was
Well, at the
Respawn.
same time, they greenlit it. I mean,
I
I
agree.
give them full props
agree.
for backing the product.
I agree with that. I think they deserve some, but really, you know, that was a combination of a lot of great people within Respawn that made that happen, and I'm glad that is part of EA because it makes EA look a bit better, and if they've got a pat on the back for this, maybe they'll do more of this in the future.
Exactly,
now,
and the good news is that this game was actually sold, according to EA's earning calls, well above expectations. They've
Really?
shipped 8 million units, and they're expecting it to ship 10 to 12 million units over its life cycle,
Wow.
which is a huge success for a game like this. So they said it was obviously encouraged by the fact that, you know, like, it's Star Wars, and we had Rise of Skywalker coming out, whatever else. Great movie, by the way, guys.
Definitely see
Everyone
it.
loved it.
Do you think it's better than The Last Jedi?
Oh man, how could you top the magnificence
It's
and
true.
perfection of The Last Jedi? That's
is very
an
true.
unfair call, Sam. That's
That
an
is very
unfair
true.
call. So, look, can I just say, on the core gaming side, I think EA is a much improved company than the past. Like, I will happily say that as someone that's very hostile to EA's overall business model, they delivered Apex Legends, which is a fantastic game. The Iron Crown event they had was bullshit, though.
Yes.
But look, that aside,
that was a block.
great game. Need for Speed Heat, didn't play it, but well received. No microtransactions. They didn't like ruin Anthem. That was BioWare's own fault. And Jedi Fallen Order was a game they greenlit with no microtransactions behind it at all.
Yep.
And it did well. So, you know, props to EA. On the core gaming side of their business, they have made big strides, I think. And that's a good thing. And I think we have to give the props to them.
I agree with that, and I think also on the sporting side, I think EA's also doing fantastic work. I really do. Making great sports games. Very light on the microtransactions,
Very light.
okay? Very light on the Ultimate Team.
Just sprinkle it on.
And they're not making a lot of money off it.
That's right.
Am
And
I
I
right?
think the Metacritic scores, I think, for their most recent releases really prove it's just a testament to how good their sports games are this year. I mean, if we look at NHL 2020, I mean, we've got a 4 user score here. Fantastic.
not a
score.
0.5 though.
That's right. And or Madden, we've got a 1.6.
Wow.
That's a great score, 1.6.
Wow.
And oh look, FIFA 2020 1.1. So I mean, EA are really nailing it on the sports side. Consistent quality in their products. No, but look, all jokes aside, EA's sports business continues to be an absolute catastrophe. They don't care about quality, and the microtransactions are completely insane. And this is coming to the headline of the story, where it's like they made $1 billion. This graph here actually shows how much money EA has made from live services, digital net bookings in the last year. That third column across is Q3 FY20. So just for the last quarter alone, that little green section there, $993 million is what they made from live services, and that does include, you know, DLC purchases or whatever from, like, you know, whatever games. But it's the bulk of this is actually Ultimate Team for their sports products. That's where they're making this money. It's nearly $1 billion. Then you've got your mobile stuff underneath that, 134 million.
Which will continue to grow.
Full game downloads is only 16% of their revenue in that last quarter. It just shows you how important that Ultimate Team business is. Look, here's the deal, right? That's a ridiculous sum of money. It's all microtransactions, and it's never going to change because sports fans don't really care about quality.
Yeah.
We see the Metacritic score, and you know, it's like, yeah, cool. People are outraged, whatever else. But if you look at the sales for FIFA and Madden, FIFA in particular, FIFA is every single month the top-selling game in Europe. Every month. Like, go and look at the UK sales charts. Like, 5 months running, it's FIFA across all platforms. It doesn't matter how much garbage EA is putting out in the market in terms of sports products or how much they monetize it. Casual gamers will still lap it up.
Yeah.
And EA knows that now, and they don't give a fuck.
I mean, I think they've known that since the dawn of time.
Of course,
you
of
know
course,
what I
of
mean?
course.
Like, I feel like that's why we don't really even cover the whole. Well,
don't even cover
look,
it.
there are moments we've covered FIFA stuff when it's particularly egregious, but really we're like, what's the point? It's a market that doesn't really listen, you know. And I know that, you know, some people, it's stereotyping that, you know, you play COD and FIFA, but there is a market out there
That's so true.
That's the reality of some people. They don't really care about the ins and outs of what's going on in the gaming industry. They just want to buy the latest one that has, you know, 2020 on it, and they just want to play with their mates, right?
Yep.
That's all well and good, but it has consequences, of course, for the gaming industry in general, because these companies made so much money and then they try and leak it into hardcore games, which EA has done, and they failed doing it.
Yeah, so look, I think you can kind of summarize this as saying on the core gaming side of EA's business, they've made strides and they've made improvements, and they're putting out better quality products because they know core gamers will like make a lot of noise and create a lot of problems if you don't, right? But casual gamers don't know any better, and EA have no interest in improving quality or improving monetization. And so EA seems like kind of a split business now. Before, they had the objective of taking the Ultimate Team product and shoving it into their core gaming
Star
business.
Wars.
Like Star Wars, like they want to do it with Battlefield, they want to do it in all sorts of things.
Yeah.
Even Need for Speed, when they did that Need for Speed as well. Mass Effect, lots of games, right? But they've given up on that now. They know that gamers will push back on that too hard, and so they're just focusing on their sports products for their bullshit, and the core gaming side, they're like, let's actually make good games.
Yeah.
I think that's sad for sports fans. It's never going to change though, man.
I mean, look, I think it is it's a better result, okay? It is for now, if that is where we're at, I'm much happier with the idea of we've pushed back as I'm so proud of the community. In the last 3 or 4 years, we've got to this stage. Be great if we can continue moving. But it's also kind of good to know that, in the future, people can be a bit more excited. I know it's still EA, about some of the games that are going to be coming out in EA.
That's true.
You know what I mean?
I do agree with that. And in fact, that's a good segue into the Switch section, Sam. Should we segue into that?
There we go. Okay.
Nice.
I mean, we all love our Switch.
So here's the deal with the Switch. EA has not liked the Switch up to this point. They've only released 3 games on there. They got a version of FIFA, they've got Unravel and Fee, like the 2 little indie games that they published. They don't give a shit about Switch up to this point. They've been waiting to see how it goes. Switch has now sold 52 million units. It's a very established...
It was only 30 million like a few months ago.
Insane.
It's horrendous.
It's crazy.
Great. It's great.
That EA are now paying attention. Here's what they had to say about Switch and whether or not EA games are coming to it. We're very pleased with how well Nintendo has done with Switch. I mean, people love the platform. They enjoy it. It's great. EA's Chief Operating Officer and Chief Financial Officer Blake Jorgensen explained on the company's Q3 2020 earnings call. And remember, there are a lot of people that have both the Xbox One and a Switch, or a PlayStation 4 and a Switch, because it in many ways provides a different experience, particularly a way to access great Nintendo software. We're always looking and discussing with Nintendo what else we can put on the platform, and as you can imagine, as the platform grows, our interest in adding content grows for that platform. But we're also conscious of the fact that top-selling titles by a long shot are all the Nintendo software, which is fabulous software, but it helps us balance sort of the realities of how big our markets can be there. But trust that we're looking into it. So what he's essentially saying here is that, like, yes, the Switch sells a lot of stuff, but the reality is people buy the Switch to play Nintendo games, not to play other games. I don't agree with that, personally.
There is a huge aspect of I'm buying a Switch to tap into the Nintendo market.
For sure.
But more and more, there is the mood is changing that you buy a Switch for other games too.
Yeah, totally. So don't quite agree with that, but look, EA, they have their own numbers, whatever. Look, should we get Jedi Fallen Order on the Switch? Yeah, it'd be fun.
I'd love to do that.
I think the real question becomes the future titles, and this is where we can start talking about what they said about their future releases. So EA launched 7 titles in 2019. Now, the next financial year, they actually plan to launch a total of 14 games.
That's a lot.
It's a lot. They're going to have 4 sports games, FIFA, Madden, NFL, and either UFC or NBA Live. 4 of the games are from their existing IP. So we're going to have Command & Conquer Remastered, which we've already heard about. We're going to have Medal of Honor VR game, which we've already heard about. And then there's going to be at least 2 more games developed by either Motive, by DICE, BioWare, or Criterion. I think we can count BioWare out of that list, because, we know their games are quite far off. A new Mass Effect, a new Dragon Age, that's not going to be the next 12 months. We know that there are 2 mobile titles coming as well, and the remaining 4 games will be from smaller external devs, so maybe like their EA indie program that they have, okay? So all of this is what Jorgensen described on the call as a broad-based model intended to keep the publisher from relying on any one title, decreasing the risk if one of the games sells below expectations. Or if, say, your company goes through some massive drama and explodes again, like you did with Battlefront 2. So you're not overly exposed.
Thank God they had other games. I mean, this is the problem with Activision. Like, they really don't have more than, like,
they don't.
Call of Duty.
Yeah.
Well, I've said this before, they've also got Guitar Hero. Okay, it's coming back, I promise. They should bring it back. But anyway, he also had some comments about next gen. EA's CFO, Blake Jorgensen, was quite vocal about the possibilities that could open up once next gen consoles finally make their way into the world, saying the power of the new consoles is going to be substantially greater than the existing consoles. Not only that, but Jorgensen thinks that the things both next gen consoles can do will genuinely surprise gamers. We can do a lot more with PS5 and Xbox Series X, he added. things we're doing will blow people's minds. So clearly, the Xbox Series X and PS5 are going to be stronger than their predecessors, but that already seems like a given. The significance of Jorgensen's statement comes from the implication that the technology leap between current and next-gen consoles is going to be bigger than expected.
Which we kind of know already because, you know, like the whole CPU thing, the whole SSD thing, like I'm sure there's some other things we don't even know about yet. So that's great news. The only thing we know is confirmed for next-gen consoles for EA is the next Battlefield game. Battlefield 6 is definitely going to be launching. There's going to be some good memes in that, surely. If every other Battlefield launch is anything to go by. I think overall, I think EA is a very interesting company at this point, right? Because they really have two business models operating simultaneously, side by side, that are very different. We have a core gaming business that's actually putting out pretty decent games, and then you have a sports business, which is a complete rip-off, putting out garbage, and just basically like just scamming people endlessly. Built on loot boxes endlessly with no signs of change. And that is actually where the majority of EA's money is coming from. Like that's the reality of how this all works. So look, I like the fact that they've cleaned up the core gaming side of their business. I wish they would do the same thing to sports games. I remember when I used to play sports games. Remember how we used to play them when we were kids?
We used to play...
We used to play FIFA, we used to play Madden.
Yes.
And now there's no way I would touch those games. It's a 10-foot pole. Like, no way. No way.
I remember NFL Blitz 2000 or whatever it's called, the one on Dreamcast. Anyway,
Yeah, I
there
remember
were
that
sports games that we did love, and the
Not
rugby,
anymore.
rugby 2000 was also good.
Rugby, great game.
That was actually a great game. But
Great
anyway,
game.
look, it is good to see that they're doing some good stuff on the single player front and the hardcore game front. But look, they're still very, in my opinion, at risk. All it takes is some sort of domino effect with governments to start banning this shit, and they've lost what, 90% of their revenue?
Yeah, absolutely.
Like
They'd be so
legitimately.
boned. As a company, they would immediately topple if loot boxes were banned.
Who
knows what they would do?
I can't think of a more risky company apart from like even Activision. Sure, they're a bit light on the IP, but they got Blizzard. They're kind of going to be okay. But EA, it's all reliant on the governments playing ball with them, which is a pretty risky thing. But anyway,
And with Sam's comment about Blizzard, let's end the episode. Love you, Blizzard.
love you guys.
Thanks
Probably
for
new
the-
Blizzard episodes later this week.